Richard Williams, animator Roger Rabbit, passed away at age 86. The two Oscars award to the film animator Richard Williams, who has passed away at age 86 for his work on Who Framed Roger Rabbit 1988, marking the fittings that recognizes of his masterly of his craft. The fantasy comedy mixed live action, led by the cartoon having hated detective Eddie Vadley's Bob Hoskins, and animation with the cartoon Rabbit. It needs the Hoskins' help when he's assumed of containers of murders. It was set in the 1947 in the age of the Hollywood film north of a classic cartoon and the interactions between in its two worlds called for of predictive use the premises in animation make it the box office and creates a success. As earners, Oscar has gone to the Dick Canadians born but based in the British for much of his life as director of the animated short A Christmas Carols 1971. At the time when his studio was in the demanded for animated titles for feature films, among them The Charge of the Lights Branch 1968 and two films in the Pink Panther series 1975 between 1976. He reaches Pulitzer 2015, nominated for Oscar, despite for a fictional hand-to-hand battle between his artist Spartan and Temptons, as serve as a prelude to his intended realization of as supposed anti-war sex strikes play the satellite. From this project, Dick continues to the end of his life to use traditional hand-drawn animation to achieve the effect that have never been attempted before the human bodies. He likes to share his knowledge to animated animals and human movement with a new generation. From his master classes, there resulted the animator's survival kit in both the print and digital version. A nativist of Toronto's Dick was a son of the British painters Leslie Lane and his Kay Lance Bell are the commercial artists, but took the name of his stepfather, Kevin William. After Lane left, Dick concerned that his inherited his graphic talents from Kay, who in her leisure time did fairy tale illumination, that he felt compiled with those of Ocsar Radham and Edmund Dwarf. When he was 5, she turned out a job as an animator at Disney, and around the same time it took a Dick to see Snow White at the Seven Dwarf when changed his life. Whilst the other children laughed at the dwarf and conferred at the wish, he was more seriously to recognize that he was a watching drawing that were somehow made to move. At 15, he saved up for the 5 days bus trip from Toronto to Hollywood and took the Disney studio tour 3 days in succession, each time being thrown out because he broke away from the guard and tried to talk the animator. Subsequently, the public relations people truth better of it and asked him back to the meet Walt Disney in person, which did not interest him much, but he met the animator showed him his drawing and spent time seeing how the things work. When he was 20, he saw the repast in Haberlitz and was moved to the tears. He sent it in Besses this, to dedicate himself to paintings and found it exciting subject in the performers and the auditions of the local circus. He soon felt that his drawing wherever wanted to move and planning to turn them into the film. Truly, he did not get around to the completion circus drawing until 2010. At the same time, he found himself scrapping the storyboard from the cartoon film about the relations between three Midgard adolescents. This was to be the dub of films The Little Islands, which were financed by working for London's companies. Making television commercial, he might side with them as a Hubbles paint mixer, but within days would eventually be promotions to animator. The Little Islands won the 1958 Bafta Award for the Best Animation, and was then when working as a classmate. I had the good fortune to become a friend of this. It's a both funny and brilliant 25 years old. In early 1960, he set up to Richard Williams Animation, which achieved huge success with its production of some of the best TV commercial of the period, as well as Dick-owned film. By the late 60s, some of the great Hollywood animator for the 30s were then taking retirement. Williams hired them to work for his studio. They include Art Bethlen, who has the shape Goofy, Graham Neckwick, who has joined the Billy Bobs, and Ken Harris, who has spent 26 years in the waters through the battles that gave a form of master classes. Most of these tough virtually instructable only by the taste, but is devastated crimsons. When he was first met Meg Karen, who has animated Sherry Karen's The Tiger in the Jungle Book, Dick's Siberio Callis created to clean his shoe. Karis told him, "You can't stop cleaning my shoe because you draw it better than I'll do. But then you can't clean them some more because you can't animate it for crap." Karis became a friend but never worked for Dick. In 1984, he met the filmmakers of Mo and Course children, the daughters of the painters Philip Sutton, and 6 years, and she became a fourth wife. She also became a regular producer and took care of it as parents of the business that did excite him. Meanwhile, still working with his great old man, Dick has barfing on the personal project as he's unabashedly intended to be the best animation feature ever. The original inspiration was the tales of the legendary Mora Nasruddin, and the first titles of the project was the Nasruddin Dick made and discarded in a series of the paint sketches trial in 1973, setting on to this new story of the titles The Thief and the Counter. In the 1990, Warner Brothers agreed to the financial disturb the film, but when it went over time and over bunches of Dick and Mo left their materials and hands over to other companies to make this disastrous version. Abandoned the Dick voice tracks and including eventual the musical number. Dick and Mo's 70s are work prints that serve as a basis of their own recreation subtitles on Moment in Time, which is he's supported by this American advocate of motion and pictures artist and scientist, and premieres in 2013. The film is 31 years in the production and set a new world record. The Steve Kasafis Pete dwarfed Dick and the Mole too close to their company and retreated to set at Salt Spring Island to British Columbia, Canada, where they remained to the 5 years. It was there that they had an idea for Dick master classes in which he is taught strictly the performance like a nightclub communist with lots of joke and funny walk and a textiles of practical the demonstrators of the way of the stunning life moment. After around 30 such performers around the world, he is distilled in this at the master class the materials into what has become the animator Bible, translated into many languages and formats, including DDV and iPad apps. In 1997, the couple moved back into the British from 2008. Dick has a space at the Aromat Studios in Bristol, where he installed one of his 1938 Disney animation desk. There he worked to the very ends of the film, of which his widely joke, the working titles, is Will I Live to Finish It? He did not, but the 12 minutes he's produced a licensed a subject that has interested him since he was the boy stand at his most of Invar's work. Had as if he has not been an animator, Dick might have been a musical set and played the concerts at funeral horns regularly with his own group. The six, he's described as himself and musically at the New York Disneylander, whatever you have to call it. He's married to Stephen is as foreigners of Lord Stewart and McGarris of French, and his advantage. He's survived by the mole and their children, Natasha and lives by Alex and Claire, from his marriage to Lars, and by Timothy and Holly, from his marriage to Margaret. Richards Amos Williams, animator born from March 1933, passed away August 16, 2019. Jessica Rabbit and Roger Rabbit broke and sad news on social media. Legendary Richard Williams. Well, Uncle Richard William, now you have to suffer to the poor health issue you have to cancer. Thank you for being such as the Canadian and British animation industry. God bless you. My severely condolences, our thought and prayers to your family and friends. If you have a childhood that watch you back to this old classic cartoon, they watch you back to the old classic independent animation films and videos. He is united as heaven now. I would have to say thank you with the Richards William, the owner, to continue with the independent animation industry with around the world, USA, Canada, UK, and including Europe have Denmark, Germany, French, and Asia's include China, Japan, Korean, Philippines, Singapore, Malaysia, New Zealand, Australia, and the oldest country of the worldwide. Thank you for everything with Richard William for all of its fun-loving animation industry memories.